This video is a detailed overview of the external and internal IP settings pages of the admin panel. In this module, you will learn to manage IP addresses and ranges for your district or site. These IP addresses dictate whether computers will receive desktop takeover messages during campus-wide alerts. External IPs are any public IP addresses through which your district routes external internet traffic. To add your district's external IP addresses, click the Add Group IP Address button at the top right. Enter your external IP address and then click Add IP Address to save it. To delete an external IP address, click the Delete button next to the IP address. Anytime you add or remove an external IP address, these changes will be propagated to every site in your district. Internal IP ranges, on the other hand, need to be added for each site. To add a site network's internal IP range, click the Add Location IP Range button at the top right. Enter the beginning and end of your internal IP range, then click Add IP Range to save it. Add an internal IP range for each network at each site, as in one for the site Wi-Fi, another for the local area network, a third for guest Wi-Fi, and so on. Please ensure that site IP ranges do not conflict. Multiple sites should not share internal IP addresses. To delete an internal IP range, click the Delete button next to the IP range. Once the IP settings pages have been set up, the Crisis Alert desktop software will use a computer's external IP address to identify the district in which the computer is located, then use the internal IP address to identify the particular site at which the computer is located. The software will display the desktop takeover message when that site goes into a campus-wide alert. Now you know how to manage IP addresses and ranges for your crisis alert system. Remember that only computers with IP addresses matching these settings will receive desktop takeover messages during a campus-wide alert.